All right, guys. I said in the last video, I saved the worst for last. You be the judge of that. The last of our waste products, and again, just important to remember, all of these are experiences that this person has because of the societal environment that they're in. Our last one is alienation. Alienation comes to us from Karl Marx. And before you guys, most of you will know Karl Marx to the extent that you do as an angry communist, and that part is true. He was incredibly resentful of the fact that there were some people who were getting extraordinarily rich and other people who were living wretched lives. But before he got really upset about the economic exploitation involved in capitalism, he was livid about this concept, alienation. All right, alienation, defined as the experience of being unable to actualize your true nature. That's deep and philosophical. What Marx is saying is that if you set up a society, and he was focused on the capitalistic side of it, but we're going to link capitalism and rationalization together. If you are living in a society that is capitalistic, in other words, it's competitive rather than cooperative, and it's rationalized, efficiency-focused, what's going to happen to this person is that they are going to be unable to, or at least not encouraged by society, to actualize their true nature. What is your true nature? According to Marx, your true nature is that you are curious and that you are creative. And I want you to think about just how little room there is for your curiosity and your creativity in my class. My class, where I allow you guys to have discussions, and I allow you guys to, I allow you to, I'm grading you, it's not allowing you, I'm requiring you to do it. I let you talk about whatever you want to talk about. And in reflections as well, you are free to talk about whatever you want. But at the same time, there is a serious lack of creativity that you are allowed to undertake. You would learn this class way better if you were allowed to create whatever you wanted to, given the building blocks of these particular concepts. You guys build a story about this, or create your own class where you are, instead of using this machine metaphor, you're creating your own metaphor. You would learn it better. Right now, you're so jaded from having 12 years of primary and secondary school that most of you just resent the idea of being assigned anything. But it's important to remember, what was it like when you were in kindergarten? Now, for some of us, which I was actually one of these kids, it was the separation anxiety from my mom was pretty rough. But once I got past that, the idea of being able to create, being able to be curious, like everything is amazingly interesting. If you can get past the fact that school hammers out of you your curiosity and your creativity, and think about how amazing it is that we have this sun that's millions of miles away that sends little tiny pieces of energy to us, and that those pieces of energy are converted by plants through photosynthesis into structures that eventually are able to nourish animals who are able to nourish us. That's fascinating. That is absolutely incredible. Most of us are not in the least bit creative, in the least bit curious about that. Most of us are not in the least bit curious about how you take pieces of food, put them in your body, and somehow your body grows and develops and is capable of doing all these amazing things. How does all that work at a cellular level? You don't know. Some of you do, because some of you are bio majors, but most of us don't know. I don't know. And why don't I know? Because I could not have cared any less when I was in school. Why? Because I had my curiosity pounded out of me by a public education system that was based on rationalization, efficiency. Here's a worksheet, fill it out. That's efficient. That's not a way. Karl Marx, I'm like channeling my inner Marx right now. Marx was livid about this. He's like, why would you build something that wasn't going to satisfy, that wasn't going to be fulfilling for these people? You've got all of these people with all of this amazing capacity, and you just say, the hell with it, let's put them on assembly lines. And which is effectively what public education does for you. And if you've ever worked on an assembly line, which I have, it is like soul crushing. That experience of having your soul crushed, that's alienation for Marx. Good God, I went off. And what we do and this will be probably familiar to you as well. What we do when we are alienated. Alienation is this dissatisfaction that leads ultimately to depression. Because, like, you look out at life and you think, what in this is deep? What in this is meaningful? We talked about when we dealt with the Iron Cage of rationalization, your ability to connect with other people, but also your ability to create and discover. Those are what human beings are supposed to be about. Our society is not set up to foster that. So what do we do instead? We try to escape. So we turn to TV, we turn to drugs, we turn to alcohol, we turn to something that allows us to feel something positive. Or for some of us, and good for you if you fall into this category, and if you don't, consider falling into this category, we resist. We resist having our creativity and our curiosity devalued. And so we find ways to be creative. Which is ultimately, if you get nothing else from my class, alcoholism is not as good as learning to play the guitar or something like that. Creativity rather than escape. Yeah, that's it. Alienation comes to us from Karl Marx, and it is the experience of being unable to actualize your true nature. Again, if you find yourself, if this seems to describe you fairly well, the problem isn't you. The problem is you don't fit well in this society. You step into it, you have your pattern of thoughts and behaviors, but there's a waste product, and that waste product is unfortunately your capacity to be fulfilled. God, sorry. I told you Unit 11 was going to be horrible. Unit 12 maybe even worse. So we got a couple of weeks of just awful. That's it for this video. I'll be back in one more to kind of sum everything up for you. I'll see you then.